we went up to the teachers, because usually studios were taught with at least 2 teachers. And sometimes we would ask to modify the assignment.
No, so like why? Like how?
Oh, yeah. Like we had this project, I think we were in 3rd year or something, and there was like this massive site in Paris, and we were each student was supposed to design a building. And it was like a huge lot between building that was kind of like abandoned and whatever. And the 3 of us came up to the teacher and were like, well, actually, we don't think it makes sense for each of us to design one building on this lot. It's a big lot. Like, what we want to do is propose a master plan where the 3 of us come up with a master plan, and then we each design a building on this plan. We think that would be much more interesting. And she was like, okay. I mean, you guys
what year was this?
Figured out a plan. I think it was 3rd year.
Okay.
And, and you know, it worked out. The teacher was like, sure, that sounds good.
Yeah.
You know?
To make things even more confusing, there's this thing of initiative that students don't understand. And that is one of the pieces of advice I'm always giving to students is like, if you want to do something and you're not seeing a clear-cut path to it, either just go do it on your own outside of the school or talk to somebody at the school and be like, I want to do it, and then see what they say. And generally, architecture schools are fairly receptive to that because they're like, yeah, good for you. Let's see what you can accomplish. Yeah, so this is like a combination of embracing the lesson that will be learned at this moment, even though it's not totally in line with your ethos, but at the same time being a rebel, you know? Like,
well, and if you have a strong feeling about something, like in that case, like the 3 of us were strongly against the idea of doing the assignment the way it was presented. Mm-hmm. And instead of just being like, rejecting the assignment, well, no, let's reject it, but instead let's propose something, you know, that's kind of the assignment, just the way that we think makes more sense. And if you have a strong opinion and a strong, you strongly believe into something, like you said, most likely the person on the other side would be receptive, because when you can feel that someone is very motivated about doing something a certain way, they're most likely not going to discourage that, because it might grant great results. You know, yeah. It's showing them that you want to grow. You kind of maybe have found a way that you can grow in this assignment, and nobody would want to stop you from growing.
I think it's a very smart thing.
It was a crazy idea, though. We actually had to do a lot more work than
I'm sure
any other students in the grade. The giant model, and then like we each got like way too far into the buildings, and it was like urban design and architecture. Yeah. We're like, what the fuck are we doing that? It's not an urban design studio. No one else is doing this. And then we're like, okay, we got the master plan, but we're gonna do a park between the buildings. So we had to come up with a concept for the park, and it was this insane.
Do you still have it?
Thing.
It sounds like an interesting project.
I still have pictures, and I remember we put a lot of late nights into it because we had no idea how to approach these beasts. Where do you start? You start with the building, the master plan, and then the park, and how do they all relate? And and then, okay, we have a common plan. Okay, how do we present each of our buildings? I need your drawing to be put on my background, and like, you know, like the whole workflow,
coordination. I hate that part. It's such a mess. And that's a 4th job right there.
And because we came up with that rule, we couldn't ask the teacher how to figure it out. You know?
Like, so listen, I made a mistake.
You know, and like our peers in the studio would be done a week before, and we're still crumbing and designing the night up.
Good for you guys. Good for you guys. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you need to have. But what I like about that is a number of things.